Hey guys, I wanted to go over with you the IXL that has graphing and reflecting over the y-axis. And then I'll also go over the other one with you about determining the distance. So you can see here on my screen, I have one up. It says graph the image of L, so the letter L, which we can see is right here. Which it says is -9, +8. So if we start at the origin, which is 0, 0, always, you always start there, you go over first. And because there is a negative, you would go to the left. So we go left 9, and then the next coordinate is 8, and it's a positive, so that means we would go up 8. So the first coordinate is your x-axis, so you would go over, and the second coordinate is your y-axis, so you would go up or down depending on positive, negative, okay? So then they've plotted that L, and there it is. The question asks us to reflect over the y-axis. So what this means is you can see they already have the y-axis highlighted purple. So just like when you look in the mirror, and if you were to look in the mirror and you're thinking about the right side of your face, but then you look in the mirror, it appears like the right side is your left side. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. Maybe go to a mirror and check that out when we're done. So the side of your face moved straight into the mirror, okay? But it's your reflection coming back. So just the same way, move this dot exactly across whichever axis they tell you to, and just line it up the exact same distance on the other side. So let's look here again. We go -9, so that means we go to the left. So now let's travel back to the y-axis because it asks us to cross over the y, and from there go the exact distance on the other side, which would be a +9. Okay, that's the only thing you would change. So let's click submit, and awesome. Let's do another one. The point V, here it is at 6, 0. So it's said to go over 6, up 0, and they want us to reflect it over the y-axis. And it asks us to also put the coordinates. Okay, so the y-axis you see is highlighted red. So again, we want to make sure that we are going across the y. So go travel back straight across to the origin, and now go the exact same distance on the other side. So go to -6, and it would be right there. Now it doesn't want us to put the point this time, but I think it's helpful to really just put your cursor there and think about, okay, what would the coordinates be for this point? So we are going to be going over first. So we go over to -6, and we go up or down nothing. So the first coordinate is -6 and then 0. Okay, so hit submit. Let's see if we, yep, good. Now we're going to have one that crosses the x-axis. So that just means we're going to go from, in this case, the bottom, because we start at -1, -9. So from the origin, we go back 1. A negative says go left, and then a negative in the y coordinate says go down. So we would go down -9. So a reflection over the x just means go across the x-axis. So the x-axis is horizontal. So go from here to up here in a straight line until they have the same distance from that axis that you cross. So that means we're going to go from here back to the x-axis, and now go that exact distance on up. So that exact distance on up would be at a +9, okay? So I'm not sure why, but let me see my submit button. Okay, so then that would be our correct answer there, okay? And if we were going to write those coordinates, we would have -1 still with a +9. All right, let's go now to the other skill that I assigned that I wanted to talk about, and it's called distance between 2 points. Okay, so here's an example of it. It says find the distance between the points 4, 4 and 10, 4, which they already have here. To find the distance, all it's asking you is to start at one point and count how far it is to the next. Now, do not start here and say 1. Okay, you need to move to the next grid and say 1, move and say 2, move, say 3, move, say 4, move, say 5, move, and there were 6. So 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You might also notice that since I moved across the x-axis, I could just take the x coordinates and subtract them. 10 minus 4 gives us 6. Okay. Find the distance between these two. So this time we're going to be moving vertically up and down, but same thing. So I'll start here and I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice this time, since I moved along the y-axis, I could just subtract my y coordinates, 7 minus 2, and get 5. Okay, I'm going to see if I can jump a level, maybe a couple, and see if it looks any different for you. So here we have we've got some negative numbers here. I still, let's see, it wants the distance between negative 8 with the 8.6, and then from there down to negative 8, negative 5.9. So in this case, obviously, we can't just be like 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So here's what I would suggest. I would suggest, grab my dry erase board, because we have not added and subtracted negative positive numbers, okay? That's just not a skill actually that we're supposed to do in 6th grade. So here's what I would suggest to you. I would say, look at your first point. How far is it from the x-axis? Okay, so this one went up 8.6. So I would write 8.6. And then how far is this point from the x-axis? Well, this one went down 5.9. So, because if I started here, I would have to travel 5.9 to get to this point, and then I would have to travel on up another 8.6 to get to my other coordinate. I want to add these two amounts together, which we've already done, add, subtract, things like that. So I would get 14.5. Okay, so let me just kind of draw it out on here. I had a point here, and I had a point here, and I wanted to know how far it was from this point to that point. Okay, so what I did, knowing this is 0, I just said, okay, how far was it from here to 0, which was my 5.9. How far was it then from 0 up to that point, which was 8.6, and then I just added those two lengths together. Sorry, you can't do that. Okay, so let's type that in, 14.5, and cross your fingers that I got it right. Yay! Let's do one more in this kind of more challenging zone. Distance here. So, just a second, I need to get an eraser. Oh, wait, here's tissue. All right. So in this case, we see we're going horizontally. So how far were we from the y-axis, this direction? Well, our coordinate was negative 5.3. Well, remember absolute value? Absolute value of negative 5.3. The distance we went was 5.3. Whether it be negative or positive, that's how far we went, okay, from the y-axis. From the y-axis in the opposite direction, we went over 8.3. So 5.3 is my lovely picture. So we're here to here. So we went this way, 5.3, the absolute value of how far you, went that direction, okay? And then this direction, it says we go 8.3, absolute value of that direction. Now add those two amounts together. Remember to line up your decimals. 13.6. So let's see if we can get this one right. Yay! So decide which direction you're moving, okay? And then add those distances up. So it'll be a good challenge for you. Let me know if you have any questions.